Hey there, folks. It's me, Al, again, here at One Man Indie. And today, continuing with NES November. Excuse me. I'm going to be continuing on with Nest Maker. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. Hope that they are at least teaching you something about this particular engine and how to use it and stuff like that. I think I'm going to still try to keep the videos about an hour or so long, just so you can actually see the actual the process that I'm going through and trying to learn these things. So these are going to be kind of more longer form videos. I hope you guys don't mind that so much. Again, I have Chillhop playing in the background. I have the PDF here with the tutorial that we're learning here as well. So let's push on with pushing on. Now, what we have here is we have the test. We can export and test it. We'll let everything run through as you're seeing right now. We'll press a key to continue. And then voila, we have the screen. But the only thing here is, unfortunately, we can't make our guy move. He's just standing there static. He's just standing there menacingly, but that's about it. So what we're doing now is we're designing the input, and I scroll down right to this particular page right here. So I will begin reading, excuse me, and hope you don't mind. And actually, you should be able to see from what I have here on the screen, you should be able to read along with me, I believe. Hopefully you should be able to, I think. But if you're not, if you don't, let me know, and I can definitely make the size a bit bigger for you. But let us continue. If you do like what I'm doing here so far, feel free to hit that thumb, subscribe, ring the bell, and ring it again. Make sure you get all the notifications, and leave a comment down if you have any questions, or if you have gone through this already and you want to give me tips and tricks. Other than that, let's do it to it. Now, before we begin designing input, it might be a good idea to revisit our design document. In the document, we determined that we want the player to be able to move in 4 directions when we press the D-pad buttons. To start the game, when we press start, and to shoot when we press the B button. That's a usual user manual level explanation of things, but we might have to go a bit deeper to get it to function the way that we want. Let's take a single button, the left D-pad button. We press the left D-pad button, the character moves left. Okay, what happens when we release the button? Does he continue moving left until he runs into an obstacle like Pac-Man? Does he stop moving? Is there any deceleration time or trot after frames? Does he turn to face that direction? And does he animate? What happens when he hits the edge of the screen? An obstacle? If a vertical or horizontal button are simultaneously pressed, does he move only in the direction of the last button that was pressed, or does he move diagonally? And if diagonal, does he move in both directions at full speed, which would make him move faster in diagonal direction than in horizontal and vertical directions, or do we have to account for that in our movement speed? Okay, so when designing our simple idea, we gloss over some of these particulars. That's okay. That's why design documents are usually considered living documents, and why they change and are amended during the production process. But those are just a few questions we have to figure out questions to before we set out to design our input scheme. Let's start simple. Here's how to add input scripts and apply them to the controller. So we expand the scripts node in the hierarchy. So we go to scripts, and we go to the input editor, right? You can see here that there are 2 modes that appear, one for input scripts and one for defined scripts. Right, for now, we won't worry. We just want to worry about input scripts. Okay, so we go to input scripts editor. In the Finder window that shows up in your work area, navigate by double clicking to your root folder. In the Finder window that shows up in your work area. What are you talking about? here? Okay, so this they didn't show me. Let me see what the picture looks like. Is that what we're doing? In the final window that shows up in your area, navigate by double-clicking to your root folder, game input scripts. Where the heck does that say that at? Root folder? Okay, so I don't see that. You mean game objects? No, that's not what he means. Click on input scripts. Okay, I got that. So input linker. Okay. Okay, you got to do better than that. So that doesn't make any sense. Navigate to your root folder. There you will see all the dput input scripts. So I have to do for the project. So, let's load project. Project info. Project settings. So I'm assuming this is what you mean. So we got project labels. We got game items. Script settings. So this is the root. Game. Yeah, you should have had a picture for that. That would have been a lot more helpful. So this is game. So we're gonna go initial main loop, all behaviors, subroutines. So I'm at game. Input scripts. I don't see input scripts. That's AI behaviors. No. Initialize base routines, main group. Handle input scripts is what you mean? Is that what you mean? There you will see all. So maybe I can double click on this and see. No, I don't see anything. Let's see what they're talking about. There you'll see all the default input scripts that are bundled with this tutorial set. No, I don't see anything else. It's blank. Keep in mind, you can add others, easily edit these that do exist, or even write up your own input, okay? To add the move scripts to your object, double click on move down, move right, move up. You'll see them disappear from the finder. All right, so therefore, I'm missing something. So that's apparently that's not right. Because I'm in game and that's not showing it. Handle input scripts. That doesn't show anything. Input linker. Is input links. What? All right, well, this is not helping. This is not helping at all. Okay. This doesn't do anything. So unless I'm missing something here. Uh-huh. Action types. So unless I'm missing something here, and I'm not paying attention because I'm not, all they say is navigate in the finder window that shows up in your work area. What finder? I don't see a finder, anything. So unless something has changed and I'm missing something. It says go to the script editor. Click on input scripts. Oh, input scripts. Game routines. ASM script folder. Double clicking the root folder. What root folder? You mean this? Oh, okay. All right. That's better. Definitely should have used a picture for that. Definitely should have used a picture for that. And you said input scripts, right? There you'll see all the different default input scripts. Okay. Hold on one second. Let me see something. That's somebody. I got some kind of a message here. All right. So, all right. There you will see all the different, okay, bundled together. Keep in mind, okay. To add the move scripts to your project, double click on move down. So we got move down, move left, move right, move up. You'll see them disappear from the Finder window. You'll notice that the input scripts node in your hierarchy now can be expanded. All right. The input scripts that you are adding get placed into the input scripts node, and you're now available to the input designer. Click on the input editor. All right. Okie dokie. The input editor gives you full GUI control of how to activate your input scripts. In order to set up an input to function in your game, you need to determine what game state should invoke this. If we are in a different game state, it will ignore the controls. Remember, we want the arrows to move our character in the main game state and the start button to start the game in the start screen state. We don't want these inputs to have the same effect when in other states. So the first important thing to consider is what game state we're working in. What target object, if any, will this input affect? The arrow keys definitely should affect the player game object. If we had a two-player game, we might have the second controller affect the second game object. Okay. So we have all this, what controller 1 to 2 are being read to call the script. What buttons do will activate the script. What button condition will call the script when the button is first pressed, when it is held, or when it is suddenly released. And then finally, when those conditions are met, what script should be called. Okay, so choose the main game from that. So we choose the main game state. Here's where those labels we created at the beginning of the game come into play. You can see that the 3 game states we set up for our game are present here. Again, this means nothing to the actual game. All the software knows is that it's reading a variable called game state and check and see if its value is 0 to 7. 0 to 7 is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's basically 8 different variables that's being called, or can be called, at least from seeing at maximum. Okay, so we did that. So we got main game state, and we're at controller 1. We'll look at where to set a screen's info in just a moment. To what game object should our control apply? We already have player selected, and that's what we want for this input. We want to, okay, so we have that. So we already have it set to that. What controller are we checking to see if we should carry out this input? It's already controller 1. Pressing this button will toggle to controller 2, but we want to stay on controller 1 for now. You don't have to click anything. It's already set to controller 1. Gotcha. Bam. Okay. Click on the right D-pad button. You will see that it turns red to let you know it's selected. So it's at the right. So we'll click on the right. Gotcha. What we want to run is the movement script if the right arrow key is being held down. Right now, there's a small state button that says press. Okay. This would make it so that you have to press the button to activate the script. This works great for something like jumping or shooting, because for those sorts of actions, you want the player to have to release the button in order to carry out the intended action. However, for movement, most games will continue to call the movement script as long as the button is held. So change press to hold. So we'll hold. All right. All right. From the drop down menu, you'll see that the scripts we have added to this input scripts are exposed here. So we got to go to this menu right here. Pick move right. We'll select it. Click on add script. Is that it? Without diving into a discussion on the ASM or X6502 ASM code, it is great to understand what is happening here so we can get an appreciation for the flexibility. What is the move right script? What does it actually do? If wanted to view the script, you could click on it in our hierarchy. Clicking on it once will open it in the built-in spot check code editor. Double clicking on it will open it in our operating system, this designated text editor. Okay. So if you want to see exactly how the code is, if you wish, you could click it this way. If you double click it, then it'll come up. And I actually use Notepad. So it'll come up. It's actually coming up over here, but I'll show you. It comes up over here. And I will just put that back. I don't need it right now. All right. This is what the move right script is actually doing. And while we don't even really want to think about code at this point, it's great to know that you can get in and tweak and edit exactly what these codes do and tailor them specifically to your game's needs, rather than coding from scratch and trying to find the part of the script for right movement of the player during the player's main game's controller pressed amidst hundreds of thousands of lines of code. That small manageable chunk is right here, linked in a logical place and easy to tweak. Okay, return to the input editor. Okay. And repeat the process to add all 4 directions. Okay, so I got up, so we're gonna put it in up. Yeah. Oh, we gotta put it in the main game state. So then we add the script. Then we go left, hold, we add left, add script, and then we go down. We add the script. So I wonder, so that's interesting. Okay. They should all be in the main game state. They should all be for controller 1. They should all use your player as the target, and they should all activate when holding their respective button. Okay. We're going to test the game, but full warning, the player will not move. We have done everything right. The inputs are set up. The proper script calls are called at the right time, and yet the player still will remain stationary. We'll take care of that in the next step. There's a very simple reason as to why. You can see an overlay of my controller in the right bottom corner of this screen. I'm pressing down and nothing's happening. This is a common problem, and if you run into it, it may have you wondering if you have set up your inputs correctly. However, there's an extremely simple reason. He is still standing still despite everything being set up correctly. We never gave the player game object a speed or acceleration speed. Okay. Open the player game object from the hierarchy. Click object details and navigate to the details tab. Okay, so it looks like we got everything here that we need to. Hold on a second. So this is down. I just want to make sure I got that right. Hold right, hold up, hold left, hold down. Gotcha. All right, so we go to the game objects. We go to the player. Object details. Okay. For now, give the player object a speed of 16 and turn the acceleration all the way to the right. Excuse me? Oh, details. There we go. Let's see what we got. So we got all the way to the right and a max speed of 16. Normal. So I'm assuming that's normal max speed is what you're saying, right? Health, experience, defense. Okay. These controls will work in conjunction with the physics scripts that were pulled into your project at the beginning when you chose the module. Okay, so I said 16, just like they said. So it's 16, 255. Now we'll close and we're going to test it. Huh? Why is she still not moving? Make the proof just as expected, but I did all that and it's still not moving. I guess I have to save it. Let's see if saving it will do something. Oh. I see. Okay, so it's moving, but it's definitely not stopping. He's just Tokyo drifting all over the place, all into eternity. Stop. Okay. So he's moving, but it doesn't do that with the other keys. So I guess the round, this is using the WASD movement, I guess, which is interesting. Okay. Test your game. The D-pad now will make the player move just as expected. Obviously, we haven't talked about things like tile collision or what to do at screen boundaries yet, but there is an even more immediately problem that we anticipated at the beginning of setting up the inputs. We never given the object any instructions to step. We set up inputs that told him to begin moving anytime the button is held. We need to play the object to step moving anytime the D-pad is. You mean stop moving? Okay, so you mean stop. Okay, all right. Click on input scripts. So, input scripts. Click on input scripts in your hierarchy, navigating to game input scripts, and double click on stop moving. So we got to go back to this again. Input scripts. And it says stop moving. Stop moving. Which will add this to your hierarchy. So we did that. Okay. Step 16, and the input editor, set up the following scripts using the release button state instead of the press or hold states. All right, so we go to the input editor. So, okay, when I release the up button, call stop. Okay, so when I release the up button, and we got stop moving. This is for the main game as script. So then when I release this button, I do the same thing as script and add the script. So there's 4. So now when I release, now it should do these, right? So we got 4 from 4 different directions. Test your game. Now you have a basic input scheme to handle movement of your hero Greg in this time traveling adventure. All right, so let's test it. Excuse me. This is player 2. So the arrow keys are player 2, and this is player 1. All right, so now we can move in different ways, and it stops. It's stepping. I guess is what he was trying to say when he said step. I guess is what he was trying to say when he wrote this. All right, so now we have that. Tile collisions. We'll close this. One of the challenges of creating this sort of tool for a system with extremely limited memory is how to handle the wide breadth of things like tile collisions, object collisions, and physics. These major components come these major components to a game can be dramatically different depending on genre, and even within the same genre can vary greatly game to game. All right. And this resulted in a module system of NES Maker, which allowed us to make very simple templates, which would call the proper scripts that would work together for the desired genre. But inevitably, you're going to want to stray from clinging to so close to the tutorial projects. You're going to have your own ideas and your own visions that improve upon or go beyond the default templates. For this reason, it's important to know how these things are set up by the tool. Okay, for our current game, we have conceptualized a few tile types: solid, a solid object I cannot pass; hurt, spikes, which hurt me, even though we have not declared that hurt should mean what hurt should mean in the game yet; and warp, a staircase that could take me to a different screen. Okay, we go to project settings. Using the gear icon on top of the screen again, we're going to set up some labels for different types of collision types we want our game to have. The first type of label is for tile types. Okay, tile types. For this game, we want a walkable tile, a solid tile, a hurt tile, and a warp tile. So we will name the first 4 tile subs as such. So you want this one to be the warp, they say. Okay, so this is warp. Oh, no, never mind. Doggone it. So this is null face walkable. Sunlight is like beaming right into my face right now. So tile is solid. Solid. 2 is hut. And 3 is warp. Okay. Now it is important to understand doing this has no bearing. We get that because you said it before with the game states. All right. Okay. Just to check to see what this does, close project settings, open your overworld and your screen. If you go to the screen's painter collision drop down, you'll see that there are 4 types outlined instead of just saying 0. We're giving them proper names. Okay, open project settings and navigate to the scripts settings tab. So we'll close that. I guess I shouldn't have closed it, but fine. We got the tile types, right? No walkable, solid, warp. Okay, script settings. Scroll down and find the scripts that refer to tile types. All right. So it's not going to be in system. Not going to be in bank. Behaviors. Tile types. This, correct? So there's tile types. We can see that tile 0 is set to blank. Is that? Or am I looking at something else? Subroutines. Tile collision. What is this one? That are referencing tile types. So is this what you mean? No. So it has to be this one, right? It doesn't really show me. Okay, so even here it looks kind of not easy to see. Let me see. I see what it says. Okay, so it's just blank. Okay. So this is where we're at right now. Okay. We can see that tile 0 is set to a blank tile. This is just an empty script. That's exactly what we want to have happen. When an object runs into tile 00, nothing happens. But for the others, we need to assign them. Click on tile 1. And then use the finder on the right of this window to navigate to root tile scripts and choose solid tile. Okay. Tile scripts, solid tile. Double click on it and you'll see that in your script list it says that tile 0 now points to solid tile. Okay, interesting. All right, so now we have that. So now it's changed from being blank to now being solid tile. This is how modules are built and customized by assigning the appropriate scripts to the right code tethers. Now, because of the physics engine that is part of this module, its tile collision section will check to see what should happen when an object runs into tile 01. And when the game is in that condition, it will run this particular script. This is similar to what we did with the input editor, checking to see a condition and then running a selected script. Okay, for tile 2, the hurt tile is set. Assign a script player hurt reset. Okay. Player hurt reset. And for 3, warp to screen. So we go to 3, warp to screen. Okay, we did that. So bang, we got all 3 of those set up. If you ever want to look at one of these scripts, you can click on it, press edit, and it will open that script for viewing and editing in your selected code editor. Okay. Another way is to see it in the NES Maker's code viewer and editor is to look at the assigned scripts node in the hierarchy. Excuse me. Every assignment by the current module shows up there and can be viewed and edited right inside the tool. Okay, so this person also is using what is that? Notepad++. Okay. Just a quick look at the codes running underneath. Well, you can actually see it right here. The first, like, check to see if the object player is a player object. If it is not the player, skip past the reset. This means that only a player object will cause the reset to occur. If your monster or projectile runs into a hurt object, it will skip over the reset function and only do anything if object colliding is a player. Okay, now maybe eventually you want to add this for your own game. Maybe you want certain objects to interact with this. Maybe certain projectiles get destroyed. Maybe monsters change directions. Okay, running a line or 2 of code beyond what exists would allow you to create another case for what should happen to a non-player object if it ran into this. Or you can find another NES Makers users who use the same physics scripts who has developed a more interesting hurt collision script, and you could replace the script reference with that user's custom script with just a few clicks. Okay. Navigate to your screen in the Screen Painter. The Screen Painter. What do you mean here? Where's the Screen Painter? Huh. Okay, let's go back here. Maybe that's what we should have done here. So we got that part. Okay. Just to check to see how this does, close the project settings, open your overworld in your screen. If you go to the screen painter's collision drop down. Oh, you mean here? I see. So that's what that is. Okay. There are a few different ways to modify the collision data on your screen. The first way is to find a tile whose collision data you want to change. Right click on it, select change attributes, and change it to the desired collision data. Modify attribute. Oh, okay. Place player, set warp in location, replace all placements, and modify. So you can go ahead and change it to whatever, what have you. This is probably not how you'll do screen painting with collision info, but it's good to understand that it's an option, especially dealing with spot changing single tiles. Okay, so we'll change this one to solid. So that makes it 1. So we got that. You can also press the collision button in the screen painter menu bar at the top of the screen to toggle an overlay that shows the numeric collision. Oh, okay. So I can just do like this. Ah, I see. So make that solid. And I guess it shows you right here. It should be showing as solid, right? Huh. Oh, now it shows that that's solid. You can see it at this little, you got the tile info here. This is the X and Y of the tile that you're selecting, and it shows you the sub palette that's used, 1, attribute bits, and then it shows you if it's solid. So you can see all of this stuff like right here. I don't know if you're actually seeing it on the screen. If you're looking at this on a phone, it's probably not going to matter much. But if you're looking at it on a TV, you should be able to see what I'm pointing to, like right here, like right there. Okay, overlay that shows the numerical legend data. You can also see all tiles are currently null, except for the one spike that I changed, which is now has a small 2 denoting it's tile type 2. All right. We're going to hold off on painting the solid ones for just a moment and focus on the hurt tiles. The reason was the easier and more common way to paint collision data to screens is to go to the collision drop-down list and choose your desired collision type. You go to the what? Is to go collision drop down. Where is that at? Oh, okay. Hurt. All right. Now place your mouse on any tile you wish to change and press the 0 key on your keyboard. This will paint the currently selected collision on that tile. Oh, okay. So you can see it change from walkable to hurt, 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 hurt. So now that changed that when you hit the 0 key, not the 0 on the number pad. Sometimes it's easier to paint collisions while having the collisions overlay turned on, since you have visual feedback for each tile's collision value. Okay. Test the game, try running into the tile what should happen is when you run into the hurt tile, the game should reset. Okay, well, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got. Oh, you got to do it. Let me click on this. Sorry about that. So, whoa, okay. I guess so. That's the game resetting. That's interesting. All right, so it did reset. Okay, paint all of the silent tiles. Solid tiles with their appropriate value. Okay, so we're going to go to the collision thing here. We can go to this if you want, and then we'll just, there we go. So we just hold the 0 and we can do all the painting here with it. You should be seeing it now, definitely now. All right, so we'll just do it this way. This is kind of fun. I like that you can just do it easily with just holding a key and just moving your mouse. Do. Look at me, Ma. I'm painting tiles. Look at this. I'm as free as a bird. Sort of. Okay, so now we did that. So now we have 1 for the solid, 0 for walkable, 2 for hurt. And most likely, let's make this solid as well. So we'll make the shells solid. So the shells are solid. And there we go. And then we'll probably change this to the 3, which is going to be the 4th one. If we were to reset our game now, or we test our game now, you'd notice that the player walks right through the walls, even though they're supposed to be solid. At this point, that's expected because we haven't told the player object what his very particular behavior should be when he interacts with a solid. Really? Let's try it out. Okay, well, let's see what we got. Oh, I forgot that's player 2. WASD is for, yep, just walked right through. Hello, hello. Woo-hoo. Nothing is holding me back. I can go wherever I want to go. Whee! Okay. There are multiple, because in most games, there are multiple ways that objects interact with solid tiles. Players stop, projectiles explode, monsters turn around and move the opposite direction, balls bounce, etc., etc. Okay. Every object has a specific definition for what should happen when it hits a solid tile. Let's set up what should happen for a player in this game. So open up the player object. So we got to close this. Open up the player object, and this is the game. Okay, and do we go to details? Click on object details. And navigate to the details tab. Details, gotcha. You'll see a drop down for solid object reaction. Right now, null is selected. Okay. You'll see a drop down for solid object reaction. Null selected. That means that right now object runs into the solid wall and nothing does nothing, walking right through it. Click on the drop down, shows you current options, which we just did right now. Currently these are undefined. We need to make a label and assign one of these solid reaction types to a stop behavior. Look. Close object info. Wait, what? Okay, so I guess we'll close that. You say go to what? Close object info, go to project settings, and in the labels tab. Okay, labels tab. We go to monster solid reactions. So monster solid reactions, got you. Keep the first choice called null, but change the second one to stop. So this one stop. Oh, not strop, stop. Gotcha. Again, this is changing the names. Like that doesn't mean anything. All right. Now we have to set up the stop behavior. Go to script settings. Scroll down to AI behaviors. So we'll go script. Oop. You'll see a subfolder called AI solid behaviors. So I guess I keep going. So this isn't it. You should see a folder. AI behaviors. AI behaviors. All it says is just behaviors, not AI behaviors. Maybe in game. Okay. AI behaviors. And you'll see a subfolder called AI solid reactions. So we got AI solid reactions. Do we have that? Go click on solid reaction 1. So solid reaction 1, we got that. And assign the script from base game AI scripts, AI reactions, stop on solid. So we go to game, AI scripts, AI reactions. It says stop on silent. Stop on silent ASM, right? So that should be added to that. So we have that. So this is where we're at right now. You won't be able, I don't think you'll be able to see it on the screen, but this is where it should be. Maybe I'll just make this bigger for folks so you can see it. You can see it a lot easier. This is what it should look like now. See? Solid reaction 1. AI reactions, stop on solid. And we have right here the script, stop on silent, right there. Okay, open the player object again. Click on object details, and go to the details tabs again. If you click on the solid object reaction dropdown, you'll now see that stop is in the place where behavior 1 used to be. Choose stop. Okay, so we're going to go to the object details for player, details, and now we have stop. This is where it is right now. You can see it on this screen right here. I didn't put it in all caps like he did, but this is what we have. Choose stop. Now this object knows that when it hits a solid object, it should do the stop on solid script. So we got that. Same thing we see here. Now I know you should be able to see that just fine. The layout looks a little bit different, I guess, but it's still the same thing. Press the close button, test your game, and you'll notice that the solid tiles will keep you contained in the room. Okay, so we'll close it. Let's run it. Excuse me. I think allergies are starting to kind of get to me a little bit. Because around about this time of year, things would be kind of shutting down in terms of blooming. Boom. Hey, boom. Hey, hey, release me. Release me. No, no, I had unlimited freedom. No, why? I can't do anything. I'm contained. I'm trapped in a glass prison of emotion, or I guess a pixel cage of emotion. No. Okay, so we got that. All right, so we'll close it. Return to your screen painter and change your warp point to the appropriate type. So let's go back to the screen, the overworld, click on this collision, and we'll change that to 3 warp. All right, we did that. Test your game and walk your player over the tile, and it will work, but it might do something strange. It will warp your player to screen 0 and place your player at tile 0. Okay, I think we need to see that just to see exactly what he means. All right, so let's scroll on over here. That's odd, and we cannot move. Okay. Okay. So here we're at right here. Like we're right there. And we ain't going nowheres. The reason for this should be pretty obvious for now. By now, we haven't set up any data on where the player should warp or what position he should be in when he gets to that new screen. Since no data was entered, it's null or 0. Thus, he's moving the player to screen 0 and placing the player at position 0. Okay. In the bottom left corner, you'll see a few boxes called warp info. Huh? Let's test it so I can see exactly what he means. Maybe I missed something here when I closed it. All right, so we're just gonna keep forgetting that is not what's happening. You said in the lower right screen, lower in the bottom left corner, you see a few boxes called warp info. I don't see anything like that at all. Or maybe I'm missing something. What? The first two values tell the engine if I warp into the screen from a warp, I should arrive at position XY. Oh, I gotta click on the screen info, I guess. Oh, there we go. But that didn't say anything. Oh, click on screen info. I missed that part. Okay. Now I see. So we got the warp info thing right here. Warping the screen location. The X, the Y, warp out. X and Y warp out to underworld. Okay, so now I see it. So to set up a warp properly, we'll need to make a new screen, set these warp out coordinates to that screen, and on that new screen, set the warp in position where we want a warped character to appear. Right now, if I hit a warp in the screen, it will go to 00 screen 00. If I warp from a different screen onto the screen, it will place me at position 00. Okay, so this is where we're at right now, same place. You see it right here. So this is where we set up the warp in location and the warp out. So when we warp in, it'll be at this particular place for, I guess, say if we put it to a different screen, we'll go to this screen, it'll be at 1-1 of screen 1, I guess. And then we warp out, it'll warp us out to back to screen 0 where we were at when we initially got to the warp, or maybe we can warp, say, like here or there or something like that. Okay, click on overworld in your hierarchy and open your map screen. We're going to make a second screen. Okay. We're going to make a second screen. It can be anywhere on the map, but for our purposes, it should be right next to the first screen. There are a few different ways we can make a new screen. If you double click on an empty screen, it will create a new screen with all of the values set to null, just like they were when we created our first screen. If you hold Shift and Control on the keyboard, you can drag your existing screen to a new cell to copy all of this data into the new screen position. This is a great option if you want to create a new screen while maintaining the tile sets and other settings. All you'll have to do is clear out the tiles. Okay, you can also click on an existing screen and press Control C, then move over it to an empty cell and hit Control V. So Control C, Control V. Gotcha, did that. Okay, this, I guess, effectively has the same result as Shift Control Drag, copying all the contents of the one screen to the new screen. Let's also do that. Shift Control and then just. So I just wanted to do both, or we can just do that too. That's all. So we'll go back to the overworld. So I just wanted to show you all three options. So we might as well do that. While you're looking at a screen, you'll notice that you can see the bordered tile of the adjacent screens. Really? This is to help you line up collisions. You don't want to go from one screen to another and get stuck in a wall or instantly run into a death tile. If you need to do some more of the screens around you, to see more of the screens around you, you can hold your mouse over the screen and hit the plus and minus keys on your keyboard to zoom in and out. Oh, really? Oh, that's what he's talking about. Oh, so this is what you're seeing. Ah, I see. So this is how you actually, if you were doing like a Legend of Zelda type of game, you would kind of have like one door open and then you would have like this one space wouldn't be solid, and you can put a warp point there and it would kind of transport you over to here and you could go through exactly that. Okay, I got you. Okie dokie, okie dokie. Use the blank tile to clear out the screen's contents. Okay. Let's just zoom in real quick, shall we? I wish there was a paint bucket thing that we could use with this. Okay. So this is just the tiles right here. All right, so, and we don't have anything on the bottom. Okay, we cleared everything out. Get out, get out, get out. Keep in mind that by using the screen painter asset rather than assets, which we haven't learned about quite yet, you're only painting the tile data and the collision data is still existing underneath. So after you're done cleaning out the tile data, make sure to choose null collision from the collision dropdown and paint your wrong collision data using the 0 key. Okay, so we go here and we go to null walkable, hold the 0 key, and we'll just go through here, just paint. Oh, gotta paint everything. They need to have a tool where you can actually reset that if you wish to change it, like en masse like that, like a paint bucket tool that'll go along with it if you're trying to reset everything, or maybe a reset collision button. What? I don't know why that took so long. Okay. Huh, that's interesting. I don't know why it took so long to do that. Maybe it's my computer having a hard time catching up. I don't know. Shouldn't. Okay. If you want to add if you want to add some more tiles to give the screen a bit of character, right click somewhere on the screen and select warp in location. All right, so let me just add in some stuff. So how did I do this beforehand? No. Oh yeah. Okay. So, and we'll do it like this, kind of fill in this part right here. And we'll just kind of go around about here or so. All right, and we'll leave it kind of like this a little bit. And then we'll put in, excuse me, some of the spikes around here, right down there, like so. Then we'll go down here. And I guess we'll add in a little, hold on a second, hold the shift, we can do it this way. We can join those up. We'll just put it like right here, like so. There we go. And go to where the waters look like a weird letter 8, and you'll find the treasure. Okay, so we did that. Right click somewhere on the screen and select warp in location. Right click, set warp in location. I said it right. Set warp in location. This will update the screen info so that when the player warps into the screen, it will warp to the set coordinates of the tile you right clicked on. Important note, do not make this another warp. Think about what happens if you do. You should warp into the screen. Your player would immediately have a collision with a warp tile. And then run the warp code, warping out of whatever this screen sends them. There are some clever advanced tricks you can use, or you could use to handle this, but this is the easiest thing to have to play warping next to a warp if you really want to set up a warp back and forth type scenario between two screens. Oh, I see. So now it is. Okay. I think maybe I need to, can I undo that? Oh, okay. Hold on a second. So how do you know which one did you set as the set as warp in location? So you did that. So where do you see, how do you see, do you like screen information? What? Oh, okay. So that's how you see it. All right. So you see it in the screen details. If you go to the screen info, you can see that your warp information, okay, yeah, information has been changed to reflect the coordinates on screen you just selected. So there we have it right here. This is the warp in right here. Bango. All right. Yep. Now you need to return to the first screen to connect the warp. You can actually navigate between the map screens using the arrow keys, or you can return to your overworld map. All right, so we hit that to OK. All right. On my map, I need to connect screen 0, 0 to screen 1, 0. if you have placed your screens in a different location on the map, you can easily see the X and Y map coordinates listed at the top of the screen when you mouse over one of the cells. Okay, for quick reference. Hold on. In the screen info on your first screen, change the warp out screen coordinates to 0 to 1 to 0 1, or to the coordinates of your second screen if you did not place it in the same location I did. So wait a minute, what? What? Your warp out screen, you set to 0. Let's just see what he got down here. Okay, so he did that. If you did not, okay, so I got it right here. Test your game. Now the warp should take you to the new screen in the right place. I mean, I guess we can try it. Huh. All right. So we walk around. We go here. Okay, so this is the... So I get it. So it warps you to the coordinates that you have there on the X and Y. Those are just referring to the map as it's located in the overworld, I guess, bunch of like screens. I get it. So the first screen is 0 0, meaning this is the first screen in the X and Y of the overworld thingamajigger here. I'll just do it this way. This in the overworld, this is just a bunch of like, think of it as the same thing like a graph or anything like that. And the X and Y is the position of the actual first screen that we have. So the first screen we have, this is the map that we're in right now. Is when we start out, when we did all the freaky stuff with it. So this is column 1, row 1. And then we go over to column 2, which in this case is 1. And this is the first row. Or the first row, first column, second row, first column. See what I'm saying? And you see right here on the bottom of the X and Y, you see it that way. So that's how that worked. All right, okay. And I think this is a good place to stop. So let me make sure I've explained it to you correctly. We got all these different columns right here. Column 1, 2, 3, etc., etc. And then we have the rows, cells in that particular column. So we're at the first column and then the first cell in that column, which is 0, 0. And then we're in the second column, which is going in this particular case for programmatically, it's called 1. And this is the first cell in that particular column. And then so on and so on and so on in this overworld screens, I guess, grid that we have here. So make sure I got it correct. We're going to move on to animations next time, which I believe will be Thursday. Friday I have an interview. So Saturday, we'll go on to animations on Saturday and I'll do a breakdown on that. So I hope that you did enjoy this. I hope that you found this at least somewhat helpful and educational. Again, this is Al over here at One Man Indie. If you did like what I've done so far, feel free to hit that thumb, subscribe, ring the bell, and ring it twice so you get all the notifications and the algorithm can bless your boy. And leave your comments down below if you still have any questions or thoughts or any pointers in regards to this. If you just enjoyed the music, let me know. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up right now. This has been NES Maker 4.5. I believe 4.5.9. Yeah, it is. This is what we're using right now. The description is going to have a link to it where you can get this if you wish to purchase it, and also all the tutorials, educational material that you're doing with as well, so you can follow along with me if you like. And yeah, we can still learn through this, grow through this, and see how much farther we're going to go in terms of getting this. And maybe I might be able to make maybe a small little bit of something with this as well. But on that note, thanks for coming out, and I will see you again on the other side. Bye-bye.